Hey everyone, how are you all doing? This is Spike here, and welcome to my first evaluation video. I don't know what I'm going to be calling this series yet, but this is going to be something that's happening every week if it's successful. Basically what this series is going to be all about is we're going to just go through the whole tour, check out all of the content, we're going to be going through all of the pipes, evaluating them and see what's worth it and what you should just leave and just pretend it's not there. Don't put any rubies into it. But maybe there's good pipes as well that you want to put loads of rubies into, and that's what we're going to be going through now. After that, we'll be going through all of the purchasable banners this tour, so the stuff that, you know, costs money, of course. The ones like, we've got the SNES Donkey Kong Jr. pack this tour and all of that, so we'll go through all of those, we'll see which ones are worth it, which ones you should ignore, and then after that we're going to be going through the gold pass gifts and seeing if that's worth it, and then finally the purchasable challenge cards, and that will be the video. So not sure how long this video will be, probably quite long, maybe about an hour or something, so we'll see how we go, and let's just get straight into it. Okay, so let's start off with the pipes then. A lot of people are disappointed in these pipes, but let's not just jump to conclusions immediately. Let's actually have a proper evaluation of these and see whether they're really as bad as people say. And you also have to remember that whilst the pipes may not be good for you specifically, it could be very good for other people, because it all depends on loadouts after all. Same with just individual driver carts and gliders, there could be some that are amazing to some people but awful to you. So this first pipe includes 5 spotlights, these being Pauline, Hakama Mario, Kimono Peach, Vacation Peach and Painted Luigi. Maybe not the best spotlight selection looking at it at a first glance, but then you take a look at the odds and you see we've got 6 drivers in there, so you got the 5 spotlights, you're guaranteed all 5 of them if you drain the pipe, as well as 1 additional permanent high end. Then you've also got 3 high end carts in there, as well as 3 high end gliders. So that is a total of 12 spotlights overall. And comparing that to most of the other pipes, that's very good odds. Really good. I mean, it's expected for anniversary after all. So now let's take a look at each of the items individually, and I'll have a look at these using my app. If you don't know what this is and you have Windows, I'll definitely recommend checking it out and I'd really appreciate it. Here's a tracker, so you can basically just input your own inventory and it will give you back a ranking, a personal ranking of all of your driver carts and gliders, what's good to invest in, etc, etc. I made a video already explaining everything that it does at the moment, so please do check that out if you're interested. I haven't made any updated tier lists yet. I still need to make a cart and glider one, and my driver one is starting to get a bit out of date now, so I need to work on those and then I'll be able to use them in my evaluations here as well. So let's start off with Pauline anyway. You can just ignore all of the score values here, that's just for my own personal inventory. We don't need that for this evaluation. So we can see she has quite a lot of city tracks. She's not exactly known for being one of the better drivers, let's just say. She's just got too many city tracks and not many tracks in general. What we got, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, literally 5 non-city tracks, so she's not good. She's also in a pipe, so she's not even rare. She's also in the first special pipe this tour, so if you're planning on pulling that, which we'll get to later, you might not want to pull for her in particular in this pipe. I don't know who would even want to pull for her in particular anyway from this pipe. Next one we'll take a look at is Hakama Mario. He is a coin box driver, so you know, coin box is kind of OP if you don't already know. You always want to invest in these drivers. Hakama Mario though, he's definitely one of the more weaker coin boxers. You'll still get value out of him obviously because he's coin box, but compared to most of the other coin boxes in the game, he's probably the one you want to invest in the least. Or he's not as bad as Party Time Pauline, that's for sure, but he's not that great, to be honest. Now we move on to Kimono Peach, also not a great driver. She has Mushroom Cannon. It's an okay item, not really amazing at first, but when you get the plus special, that makes it really good in my opinion. Nowhere near as good as the top 4 or 5 items though. She's well, considering she debuted in a city tour and she's one of the first drivers, that's pretty much something you can use to say whether a driver is good or not, because if they debuted in a city tour and they're an old driver, yeah, they're most likely gonna be not great at all. And she is probably one of the top 10 worst drivers in the game, I'd say. I'd have to have a look at the new tier list once I finish that, but yeah, she's not great. Not someone you want to invest in, that's for sure. And now our other coinboxer driver in this pipe, Vacation Peach. She used to be the goddess, definitely not anymore. Her value has is dropped a lot over time. She's obviously, the fact she has coinbox means she's still good. I mean, you can see I already have her at rank 7 here personally, at level 5. I mean, it could definitely be higher for a coin boxer, but she's not terrible. I don't think you're gonna regret investing in her, but there's definitely better options there. And now the final spotlight in this pipe is Painter Luigi. I think the one that most people are gonna want to go for if you're planning on pulling this pipe. He has Lucky 7, that's one of the top items in the game, a fan favourite, that's for sure. Compared to all of the other drivers in this pipe, he's actually very new. I'm surprised that they chose him over someone else, really. But I guess they needed someone to at least carry this pipe for them. He started out pretty bad, but he's got a lot of value over time. I wouldn't say he's quite a top 10 driver, but I think probably top 20. We'll have to take a look at my new tier list once that comes out. Pretty excited to work on that again. Now that we've had a look at all of these drivers, let's take a look at rank this tour and see who you're actually going to need. The 2 cups this tour will be the Baby Luigi one, and the second one's most likely going to be the Pink or Peach cup. And we'll start off with the new map, New York Minute 4. The one that people are probably going to be a little bit screwed on. So here's the top shelf. You've got Pauline, Cherub, Classic Luigi, Explorer Toadette, Explorer Peach, and Penguin Mario. Explorer Peach, she's been getting buffed a lot. She is quite rare, so maybe you don't have her. But that one time she came back, I know a lot of people probably did try and pull for her just because she's so freaking OP. Other than that, everyone else is honestly kind of just, well, maybe you have them, maybe you don't. It's as simple as that. Everyone's just been in random pipes. I mean, Classic Luigi's in a purchasable banner this tour, so maybe you want to get him for a top shelf. Or there's Cherub, who's in the special pipe this tour, as well as Pauline. So honestly, in terms of getting a top shelf here, you'd probably actually be more beneficial pulling on the special pipe, so you have a chance of getting either Pauline or Cherub. Pauline, however, would be the better option as she has Lucky 7. Alright, next map is Tokyo Blur T. You can't see it here, but Hakama Mario and Kimono Peach... Oh, you can see Kimono Peach here, but Hakama Mario is also top shelf here because he's getting boosted from being a spotlight in this pipe. So that's also good to note for this one. He's not actually got the top shelf all the time, so if Tokyo Blur T ever comes back and he's not a spotlight, he's not going to be there top shelf basically. Not that it ever does come back anyway, so who cares? Now all of these, they're fairly rare, but at least there's quite a few of them to choose from. They're kind of just random ones again that's appeared in in different pipes, so maybe you have one of them to use, maybe you don't. Hakama is definitely going to be the best option here, obviously, because coin box. If you don't have Hakama, you're going to be at a big disadvantage with this one, so might be good to pull just for him, but it's probably best to check your scores first. We'll get to that. And now finally, for the first cup at least, we have Paris Promenades 2R. So this one's definitely the most free-to-play friendly out of all of these, because you have Baby Luigi here. He's already a really good option because of Boomerang, so that's awesome. Honestly, you don't really need a pull for anyone here. You do have Vacation Peach here as well, who has Coin Box. Coin Box obviously is better than Boomerang, but Boomerang's still great. So really it depends if you're planning on leveling Vacation Peach up or not. I mean, if you're planning on just pulling for her and keeping her like below level 4, I wouldn't recommend pulling really for this one and just use Baby Luigi instead, because he's still great to use. Now we're skipping over New York Minute 4 RT because there isn't anyone, a spotlight in this pipe that's useful over there. So we're going to take a look at Berlin Byways 2R now, where we have Painted Luigi top shelf. Will we need him? Well, it really depends if you're going to actually win this ranked or not. We don't exactly have to think about the second week yet, but if you manage to win it and you get come top 3 and get Blue Birdo, you could just use her instead. But you've also got a lot of drivers here. You'll probably have at least one of these. You've also got Kamek, who has Coin Box. Painted Luigi does have Lucky 7 at least, which is still good. So he'd be better than the majority of these, except Kamek. So if you have Kamek, that's great. You're not going to need Painted Luigi, that's for sure. And London Loop is another one we can skip for now, as no spotlights in this first pipe are available here. So that's 4 out of 6 of the ranked cups that you actually might need one of these guys in, which is pretty good. In terms of ones that you would actually very likely need one though, I would say you probably are only going to be missing a top shelf for New York Minute 4 and possibly Tokyo Blur T, but if you're an older player you probably have someone for that by now. Paris Promenade 2R is completely free to play friendly, you won't need anyone there, although Vacation Peach can definitely help you out a lot, but you'll have to level her up a lot as well to let her to increase her potential there and make her a better choice over Baby Luigi. And then Berlin Byways 2R, I don't think you're going to be needing Painted Luigi for that one unless you're missing all of the top shelves there, but you also have Blue Birdo, so if you manage to win this week, that's great, you already have a top shelf for that. Another good thing to know about this pipe is as we get in a similar pipe to this next week, we're actually expanding the high-end pull, the non-spotlight high-end pull that is. So you also have a chance here of getting, what, we've got Musician Mario in there. We've also got Bus Driver Waluigi, Detective Baby Rosalina, Baseball Mario, Lederhosen Luigi. So there's quite a few in there that you do have a better chance of getting, so that's always useful. That's just something else to keep in mind when pulling. You only are getting one non-high-end driver though, so that's not quite as good, but you still have your chance there. So is this pipe worth it? Well, depends, honestly, on your loadout, but this pipe is very underrated. It's actually not bad at all. I think people have just got their expectations way too high for Anniversary. If we're comparing this to the standard pipe each tour, it's very good. I mean, you're getting 12 high ends, that's great. Even if you're only getting like 5 spotlights that aren't that good, still have a chance of getting Painted Luigi, which is great for a start. Then you also are getting 3 high-end carts and 3 high-end gliders. Like, it's really good. I don't know why people are hating on this pipe so much. And it's especially great for free-to-play players or newer players to the game. Like, ones like Pauline, while she's not useful, she's at least in the daily select, so she's much easier to level up, and pulling her from this pipe would be great to help level her up as well. Of course, this isn't the only pipe this tour though, so before we actually say whether this one's worth it or not, we gotta have a look at the other ones first. I think before we get to the special pipe this week, I'm actually gonna go into the second week pipe, just like this one. The second pipe of the tour, I guess we would call it. So this one we can predict that it's going to have exactly the same odds as this one that I just covered. The only thing that's going to be different is of course the spotlights. So in this pipe in particular we have Lederhosen Luigi, Baseball Mario, Musician Mario, Detective Baby Rosalina and Bus Driver Waluigi. Start off with Lederhosen Luigi. I think this is the guy that, like Painted Luigi in the first pipe, I think this is the guy that people are going to be pulling the second week pipe for. He's one of the more rare drivers in the game, and he's actually one of the better city drivers, I'd say. I'm surprised, to be honest, how good he's got. Like, he really doesn't have many, like, oh my god, just look at his top shelf. Like, it's true that he's going to overlap with a lot of high-ends on all of these, but to be fair, everyone does. But this top shelf is pretty insane actually, not even that many city tracks here. So he's definitely someone that's really good to invest in. Of course you're going to want to check your coverage first, make sure you don't have extreme overlap with other drivers, but he's definitely really good. Now we'll talk about someone who's definitely not quite as good. We've got Baseball Mario. He's the city track guy, I guess we could say. What we've got, hang on, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 tracks here. And how many are cities? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cities. So you got 11 out of 18 are city tracks. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be good in those tracks that, in the tours where city tracks come back, but that's rarely never. So overall, his value is not great. Good this tour, but other than that, not great. Musician Mario is next. He's one of the oldest drivers in the game. I think most people know by now that he's not good. Like most of the older drivers, he just has a lot of city tracks, doesn't have a good top shelf at all, really. These older drivers just never get buffed anymore. It's nice that they're actually getting buffed this tour. That's the good thing about city tours. You actually see these older drivers finally get buffs and actually get some use. But overall though, in the future of the game, if city tracks aren't ever going to be added to normal rotation, he's not good. One of the worst drivers in the game, top 10 worst definitely. Detective Baby Rosalina, wow. I mean, let's just say if city tracks ever did come into rotation, Detective Rosalina here is going to be like top tier. From bottom to top. Because what have we got? Again, let's count. We've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 tracks here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of them are cities. Wow. So a massive top shelf, but also a massive amount of city tracks. The most city tracks out of every driver, I think. Out of every item in general, to be honest. Yeah. She's not good. Again, though, if city tracks ever did come into rotation, which, considering we're 2 years into the game and they still haven't, I don't think it's likely, and I don't think she's gonna be that great of an investment for you. And now Bus Driver Waluigi. Honestly, arguably the worst high-end in the game. I mean, well, maybe the worst high-end driver in the game. I don't know about karts and gliders, but he's awful. He is so bad. He's really frequent as well with coming back, so most of you probably have him by now, or Yeah, he's kind of a curse to pipes, honestly. I mean, he looks awesome. It's such a shame that they've given him such trash value. Just don't invest in him if you want to play for competitive, because he's not worth it at all. So with them all summed up, we're going to take a look at ranked again. We're only going to have to look at the Pink Gold Peach Cup this time, because obviously this pipe isn't coming out until the second week. So, you know, none of them are going to be usable in the first week. Let's start off with New York Minute 4 RT. So here we have Musician Mario, SNES Mario, Lederhosen, Swimwear Daisy, Baseball Mario, and SNES.com Jr. So you've got three high ends here that are in this pipe: Musician, Lederhosen, and Baseball Mario. If you're missing a top shelf here, this is gonna be a great pipe for you to pull, because your odds of getting at least one of these early on is pretty high. So, I mean, all of these items as well, they're on a similar level. I'd say triple mushrooms or maybe mushroom cannons probably the... I don't know, actually. I'd say, honestly, they're all just on the same level. Triple mushrooms probably the best out of the three, but yeah. But another good thing to know is Blue Birdo is here, the super that you win for coming top 3 in ranked on the first week. So if you do manage to come in ranked on the first week and you unlock her, you need to get her to level 6 in order for her to become a top shelf here. So if you've been saving up a lot of super tickets, a lot of driver ones to be specific, maybe just give her all of the tickets, honestly, and you'll have a top shelf here, if you're not planning to pull, that is. Now moving on to Berlin Byways 2R, once again we have Blue Birdo here, so if you manage to win ranked in the first week, she's definitely a really good investment. 2 tracks here that she could be really good on for you. So who have we got here? We've got Detective Baby Rosalina, and that's it actually, I believe, right? Yes, no one else hiding as a spotlight bonus, so it's just Detective Baby Rosalina here. I mean, she's not good, to be honest. She's not someone you want to invest in. You've got a lot better drivers here. You've got Kamek if you have him, or you've got Black Birdo if you've managed to get her, because she just gets buffed all of the time. You've got Painted Luigi as well from the first week. Penguin Luigi, who's permanent. Like, there's a lot of choice here. You don't need Detective Baby Rosalina here. And now finally we have the Londoners. So there's no one here actually, is there? Oh, there we go. We've got Bus Driver Waluigi. He's not appearing here, but he's there because he is a spotlight bonus. So he doesn't actually have this course top shelf. It's only because of his spotlight bonus that he's getting it from here. Again though, as we know, Bus Driver Waluigi is awful. He's not someone you want to invest in. And someone else who isn't appearing here, who's getting a spotlight bonus, is Pink Gold Peach. She's in the tier shop, not the tier shop, the token shop this tour. Just get her and you'll use her instead. Bus Driver Waluigi is literally pointless for this course. You don't need him at all. So with that summed up, you could actually get away with not needing a single driver from this pipe for rank this tour. It depends really if you manage to win the first week and get Blue Birdo or not. But even if you don't manage to get her, really the only course you're going to need someone for is New York Minute 4 RT, and there's 3 top shelf there. You're going to be pretty unlucky if you get all 3 of those at the end and don't get one for a long time, you know. So really, I don't know, man. This pipe, I don't know. Again, it's great for the odds. If we're comparing it to the first week, it really just depends on who you need for ranked and who you already have and who has coverage for you. But comparing the spotlights in the two, I'm thinking more towards the first pipe is better. Because you've kind of got one good one in both pipes. You've got Painted Luigi in the first pipe, and then you've got Lederhosen in the second pipe. But then all the rest of the drivers are trash. At least Pauline from the first pipe though is permanent, so that's great. But then you've got ones like Bus Driver Waluigi in this pipe, who's literally the worst driver in the game, and it's pretty much just a curse if you get him. So I think in terms of stats, first pipe is definitely better than the second one, but again, it's all going to depend on your own personal loadout. Alright then, so I think it's time to move on to the two special pipes now. So I think we'll honestly evaluate these two together, because they're both like basically the same thing. I'm going to be making the same points pretty much for both of them. It's just going to again be the drivers that are different. So these two special pipes they contain non-spotlights, no spotlights at all, so you're not guaranteed to get any of this stuff. The only thing you're guaranteed to get are the odds. So in this case is a 50 pipe, that's always nice, and you're getting 3 high-end drivers from it, as well as 3 high-end carts. You're guaranteed to get 3. You could get all 3 of the same though, that's the problem with non-spotlight pipes. So let's actually check out the contents then. We already discovered the odds. The odds are actually really good for a 50 pipe. The standard 50 pipe is usually 111 for driver, cart and glider, so 3 high ends. Sometimes we get 4, but rarely do we get something like 6 from a 50 pipe, so that's good. Also, if you do the calculations and convert this to a 100 pipe, that is exactly the same amount of high ends that we're getting from the weak pipes. So pretty much the same sort of odds there. So the 4 high-end drivers we're getting from this pipe are Pauline, Racer Mario, Baby Peach, and Bus Driver Waluigi. Now this selection is pretty tragic. I mean, we have Pauline, who's already in the first weak pipe, and we have Bus Driver Waluigi, who's in the second weak pipe. I mean, if you're aiming for one of those two, at least you have more choice now between the pipes. But I don't know anyone who is aiming for those two. I don't need to go through those two again. I already have. Bus Driver Waluigi, arguably the worst high-end driver in the game. Pauline, not that far in front, to be honest, either. She's at least permanent, so that's good, and she's in the shop. But other than that, and the fact she's got Lucky 7, she is awful for coverage. Peach is she's not terrible. I don't think she's one of the worst high-ends in the game. She's just kind of there. I mean, she doesn't have that many city tracks, and she has an okay-ish. She has a pretty good sized top shelf, actually, honestly. But it's mostly just her map selection in general isn't that great. I mean, they're mostly just the same types of maps. You've got Mario Circuits, you've got Choco Islands, but that's mostly it. She just doesn't have that sort of variety there. But she can be good for some people. I think she's definitely one of the more better sort of city drivers. Kind of on the border, I'd say. Racer Mario is a bit debatable. I don't think he's amazing, but I definitely don't think he's terrible. I mean, he has a pretty decent sized top shelf again. He doesn't have that many city tracks. He has a bit of variety with the maps. It's mostly just that there's usually just a better option on all of the maps he's on, but if you level him up high, he's actually gonna be pretty good for you. Like, he's a good choice to level up, I'd say, but there's just better ones to level up. And now it's the cars, so we can at least take a look at the B-Dasher Mark II. So let's take a look at that now. B-Dasher Mark II. So this is the older version that released with Racer Mario. It's not been seeing the best treatment, honestly. Again, like Racer Mario, I don't think it's absolutely terrible, but there are definitely much better options out there. I would say it probably ranks maybe just below average. I can't say for sure because I haven't done my tier list yet, but I think probably about just below average. And the fact that it's a more older car means it's probably not going to be seeing that many buffs from now on. However, if we're looking at the new the three new carts in this pipe, so you've got the classic B-Dasher Mark II, the red B-Dasher Mark II, and pink B-Dasher Mark II. I'm not going to have a look at their value, to be honest, because it's awful. I mean, it's just trash. It's all city tracks, no value whatsoever for any of those 7 new carts. And we don't really need to pay attention to the skills either. Like, kart skills, they're very overrated, honestly, by the community. They don't really contribute that much to scoring. Like, green B-Dasher Mark II, for instance, is the only one with Slipstream Plus. That's easily the worst kart skill. There's no denying that. But just because it has Slipstream definitely doesn't automatically mean it's going to become the worst B-Dasher. I mean, watch it become the worst B-Dasher now. But it doesn't necessarily mean it is going to become the worst B-Dasher. We can't just look at the skill and immediately say, hey, this one's going to be top tier and this one's going to be bottom tier. We don't actually know the value at all. I mean, considering their starting value is 0, I don't imagine any of these carts are going to rise up anywhere to top tier. Maybe some will get above average. I mean, it's possible. Depends how much Nintendo decides to buff them. But I can't really say for sure. They're nice to add to the collection at least. They look really cool. Let's take a look at ranked again. So, for New York Minute 4 of the Baby Luigi Cup, we have Pauline and Cherub top shelf, both in this pipe. So, I already said previously in the first pipe evaluation that you probably are going to need someone top shelf here, as these guys are all fairly rare. And the fact there's 2 of these guys here in the special pipe means you'll probably get one of them, unless you're very unlucky. I think you're more likely to get one quicker in this pipe than getting Pauline in the first week pipe, as Pauline could be right at the bottom. Of course, you could argue that you could get neither Pauline or Cherub from this pipe as they're non-spotlights, and yes, that's true, but it's again the fact there's 2 of them. You're probably going to get one of them, and honestly, you probably already have Pauline anyway, so I don't know why I'm going through this so much. In terms of carts, you do have the red B-Dasher Mark II here, but the thing is, it's again a non-spotlight pipe. You've only got one here that's in this pipe. It's unlikely you're going to get that guy unless you spend a lot of rubies on this pipe. Like, you're going to be very lucky. In terms of all these other carts though, it is probable that you are going to need a top shelf cart here. To be honest, I wouldn't worry about it. If you're missing the top shelf and you don't really want to pull this pipe, I just wouldn't worry about it, honestly. It's just a cart. It's not it's easily, well, debatably, but I would say it's definitely the weakest of the 3 driver cart and glider combo. I don't think carts are necessarily needed, they just help. Now for Tokyo Below T, there aren't any drivers in this pipe that's top shelf, but you do have the classic B-Dasher Mark II here. Now again, just like last time, your chance of getting this guy out of all of the other carts, it's slim, so you're not necessarily going to get this cart here. However, we do also have Cloud9 here anyway, so again, don't know why I'm talking about this, because everyone's just going to use Cloud9 instead. I mean, it even has the better cart skill, and it's in the tier shop this tour, so you're definitely going to have that to use. And now we can move on to Paris Promenade 2R, the last last map of this ranked cup. You've got the pink B-Dasher Mark II here. But you've also got the green kitty cart, which everyone should have by now. You're probably just going to want to use that instead. Pink B-Dasher Mark II does have the better cart skill, but as I said previously, honestly it's best to just ignore the cart skill most of the time. Just don't worry about it. It's not a massive deal. So, actually, to be honest, I would actually argue that Rocket Start is a better skill than jump boost on this particular map. Usually jump boost is only good on the T and RT tracks, and Rocket Start does give you quite a few points using that skill at first, plus Paris Promenade 2 is quite a small map, so that's also something to consider. Kart skills kind of do vary from map to map which one's the best and which one's the worst. Now if we jump to London Loop of the Pink Gold Peach Cup, we see that Bus Driver Waluigi and Driver Mario are top shelf. Well, we don't actually see that Bus Driver Waluigi's top shelf here. He's just getting a spotlight bonus, which is why he doesn't appear here, but he is there. Not that he's needed or anything, he's definitely not. Neither Bus Driver Waluigi or Racer Mario are needed, because someone else who's also here, who's hidden at the moment, is Pink Gold Peach, who's in the token shop this tour. So just get her instead. She's getting us not a spotlight bonus, but cup bonus. So that's great. And now if we take a look at the karts, we've got Classic B Dash and Mark II here. There's a few different karts here that you could use. You could also use Blue Turbo Birdo if you manage to win the Ranked Cup, if you manage to come top 3 in the first Ranked Cup. You've also got ones like Sports Coupe, which is permanent, Green Circuits. Gold Pipe Frame is actually a Gold Pass gift this tour, so if you're a Gold Pass user you should have that. Overall, shouldn't really need this cart here. I wouldn't worry about it as well if you're just missing a top shelf cart here. It's not worth going into a non-spotlight pipe for a top shelf cart on a city track that's never really going to come back. So is this pipe worth it? Well, you've got two awful drivers in the pipe for a start. You've got one, and then you've got two like mediocre drivers. They're not terrible, but they're not really that great either. The karts we can't really go off of at the moment. All of them, well, B-Dash and Mark II, the normal one, that's been out for a long time. It's probably not going to be getting many buffs at the anymore, and it's not amazing. So that's something to definitely consider, unlike the other 3 karts, which obviously are worse at the moment. I mean, they literally have 0 value, but considering they're new, they're much more likely to get buffs in the future tours. And who knows, we could even see them rise to top tier. We literally just don't know. So now, is it worth it? I think so. I would say it's definitely worth giving it a try if you have the rubies. It's got great odds. We don't get odds like this for a 50 pipe that often. Whilst the drivers aren't that good, it would be good to add some of those karts to your collection in case they get good. Plus it's nice to level up those drivers as well. I mean, not so nice for Bus Driver Waluigi, but at least Pauline is permanent in the shop and in the pipe, so she's a good one to level up to unlock tickets in the shop. Let's compare that to the second special pipe though next week. So this other pipe has exactly the same odds and everything. It's just the karts and the gliders. No, not karts and gliders. The drivers and the karts that are going to be different. So the karts are 4 of the new ones, new B-Dashers. They have 0 value at the moment, as I was already saying. We don't really know their potential at the moment, but honestly, I would say the kart selection is going to be better than the first Special Pipes kart selection because of that regular B-Dasher Mark II in the first one. Again, as I was saying before, the fact B-Dasher Mark II is old now is probably not going to receive many more buffs, whilst with all 4 of these karts being new, they're all likely to get buffed in the next several tours, so it's possible that they'll rise higher than the regular B-Dasher Mark II. They have more potential overall. Now in terms of the driver lineup, ooh, we have some good ones here. We've got Sunshine Mario, Lederhosen Luigi, Aurora Rosalina, and Koala Baby Mario. Now a lot of people hate on Sunshine Mario, and I'm not really sure why, to be honest. I don't think he's anywhere close to being awful. He's 100% above average, and I would honestly argue that he's not quite top tier yet, but I think he's getting there. I'd say he's at least in the top 20, maybe just on the border of that. He has Giant Banana as his special, which is great. One of the best items in the game. Of course not as good as Coin Box, but that's hard. He does have quite a few city tracks, which I think is probably what puts people off a bit. But if you take those out and look at his value overall without those, it's not too bad. Obviously it could be much better, but it's not terrible. I mean, he overlaps a bit with other drivers and that, but if you level him up past those, then obviously he's going to be better than them because of his item. So if you don't have him already, and he's quite rare, so you probably don't, I think he's definitely worth pulling for. Next is Lederhosen Luigi. I actually already evaluated him previously in the second week pipe, so I'm not going to again. To sum up what I said there, he's really good, honestly. Very good for a city driver, one of the better ones I'd say, so he's worth it. Now onto Aurora Rosalina. I think honestly she's the only one in this pipe that's actually bad. She's got quite a few city tracks, not a big top shelf in general, and not a huge variety overall of maps. It's pretty much just Rainbow Road, Choco Mountain, and that's about it. Some snowy maps, and there you go. But those maps don't usually appear too often in ranked. I mean, I don't even remember the last time we saw 3DS Rainbow Road, to be honest. Or even RMX Rainbow Road 1. We don't really see 2R much. She's just not really that good. I would say she's honestly definitely in the bottom 20 in the game. Maybe not the top 10 worst, but I think top 20 worst. Wow, Koala Baby Mario. A lot of people sleep on this guy. I don't know why. He's so good. He has a lot of maps. First of all, like, look at his top shelf. It's insane. Not too many of them are city tracks as well, and quite a few of them actually have very rare top shelves that you might not even have anyone for. And leveling up Koala Baby Mario on those, it's gonna really increase his value a lot for you. I don't know why people hate on him so much, honestly. It's probably honestly just because of the heart item, and that brings me on to the other point, that people just overvalue these items way too much. Like, just because he has heart doesn't make him bad at all. Yes, it's one of the weaker driver skills, definitely, but it's usable. I mean, it's not going to screw you over or anything using it. It's not like Bubble. It's just, you know, it's just there. He is on his way to becoming a top 10 driver in my opinion, definitely in the top 20 at the moment. Now to sum up ranked real quick, we've got Lederhosen Luigi top shelf in New York Minute 4 RT. I've already gone through this one. You might need him here, but probably not, because you do have Blue Birdo there. If you manage to get her to level 6 and you unlock her in the first week, then that's great. Also Musician Mario, he's not even that rare to be honest, so you probably have him. Now for carts, well, you got Cream B Dasher Mark 2 unlocking at level 6. Now if I was you, I know we don't know the values of these carts yet, but I would not recommend leveling up one of these carts to 6 yet. If you don't have a top shelf here, I would just accept it that you don't have a top shelf there. It's not going to make a massive difference anyway. For Burning Byways 2R, you do have Aurora Rosalina top shelf here. Not really going to need her though with these other guys. You got Blue Birdo there, which you'll probably unlock in the first week if you manage to have good loadouts for that. But then you've also got all of these guys. You should probably have one of these by now. Maybe even Kamek, as he's got Coin Box, or possibly Pie Time Lakitu or Black Birdo. And then for carts, we've got both the Metal B-Dasher and the Cream B-Dasher. You've also got the Red Streamliner here. I mean, it's more one of the more rare supercars though, as it's gold pass exclusive, but you do have blue turbo Birdo here, which you'll unlock possibly in the first week. And then even if you don't have one of those, like, you've got 2 of these guys here, so maybe just give it a pull and see if you manage to get one of them. And then that's actually it. So if I sum up my evaluation, you've got 3 really good drivers in there. Koala, I'd say, is really good, top tier honestly. Aurora, terrible, don't want her. But then you've got Lederhosen, also very good. Sunshine Mario, also very good, especially with that item. So if you don't have any of these guys, and most of them are actually very rare, like all of them are really rare except Aurora Rosalina actually. So I would just say give it a pull if you're missing all of them, definitely. Like, they're all very good and I'm sure they'll help you out if you invest in them, but just be sure to check your coverage first. This pipe is 100% better than the other special pipe. So there we go. That's all of the pipes summed up. So I know I say this a lot, but really in terms of what pipe's better than what, it's gonna depend on your own personal coverage. For me, I would say the second special pipe is probably the best this tour. All of the pipes have basically the same odds, so it's not like odds are going to contribute to any of them, which one's better and all of that. But in terms of overall value, second special pipe is definitely the best of the few. Other than that, I would say probably the first special pipe after that. There may be the first week pipe and then the second week pipe ranked last there. All of these pipes are very good to pull. Like, yes, the high ends are kind of a letdown, not very good most of them, but the odds are great, and you're at least going to be getting, if you're pulling the weak pipes, the weekly ones, you've also got the non-spotlight carts and gliders as well that you can level up, so that's always good. These pipes are definitely very underrated. I'd at least have a look at them if you're already tempted to not pull any of them. Of course, if you want to save those, absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's always good to save. Maybe you'll find a pipe later down the line that's got a lot better value for you in particular. Maybe they'll even have some better ones for New Year's, you never know. So that's going to be it for this video. Sorry about it being only the pipe evaluations this time, but hopefully next time I should be able to do the other things as well, like the banners and the event shop. Not the event shop, the you know, the challenge cards, gold pass, all of that. So thanks for watching anyway, and I'll see you all in next video. Please let me know what you thought of this and what changes you'd like to see.